productivity, and your artwork. There's a fine line between being productive and being unproductive. And my point being that if you're trying to be so productive to where you're doing so much work that you get burnt out and you don't want to create anymore, that can be just as bad or if not worse than being unproductive, because you'll spend a long time not doing anything at all, and then you'll feel discouraged and lose any interest in that hobby. And then after a while you'll come back to it and then have to start the process all over again. And to help stay productive, create a short-term goal for the day or for the week. And I covered this in 2 other videos, and I discussed about your environment and how that affects your productivity. If you don't have a very good environment and your surroundings are cluttered and it's difficult to get anything done, and that's going to affect productivity, then also who you're spending your time with and the effect they have on you can change your creative process, how you think, and what you're working on. And that can translate and affect how you express yourself in your artwork. Now, if you're not doing artwork that's quite as expressive, such as abstract or a lot of painting, and what you're doing is more detailed and more of a kind of I wouldn't say monotonous, that's not really the word, but you're doing more fine art. And if you're doing that type of art, you have to be really focused. There's not quite as much expression with it. And so if your mind's constantly wandering off thinking about all these other problems in life and stress, then you're not going to be able to stay focused on what you're doing or what you're creating. And that's really going to show in your artwork. And you'll see mistakes in there that no one else can see it, only you can, but it's constantly going to bother you. And then everything you create after that is going to be a struggle. You're going to be stressed, and then it's just going to build up to the point where you don't want to create anything. I also spoke about this in another video, and I talked about how to keep your phone off and any other distractions that are around you when you're drawing. If you got the TV on or the phone on and you're in the middle of drawing and you get a text or a phone call, and then you end up talking for several hours, and then you wonder why nothing's getting done. For some people, that might be one of the issues, and so I'd advise to turn those distractions off. Set up a good environment, eliminate distractions, and stay focused, and set up a good routine. And those really help you build a good foundation to stay productive. And there's going to be times where it's going to get difficult and you don't think you can get past it, but just keep working towards it. We all get in those ruts where we don't feel like we're making any progress, but it's when we don't think we're making any progress that it's necessary to go through that, because eventually you're going to break through that. And once you break through that wall, you'll get to where you wanted to be. And then you look back and you'll think to yourself, that was so hard. But there can be a lot of enjoyment out of accomplishing something difficult, because the less challenging something is, if you have a goal and once you reach that goal, it's not as enjoyable, because the bigger the challenge that you overcome, the more enjoyable it's going to be, because you're going to think back and be like, wow, I can't believe that I did all that. I can't believe I overcame so much. And for me, growing up, as I've discussed many times before, about my childhood and what I had to go through, what I go through now in life is nowhere near as difficult. So anytime I have something that I'm confronted with that is difficult to overcome, I just think back to what I had once went through, and it just makes everything that much easier. And so for some of us, if you just think about what other people have to go through to get to where they were at, if you're telling yourself that you can't do it, just look at what they've done and what they were able to do. Because there's a lot of people out there that have done some great things with very little, or they were given absolutely nothing. So to make the excuse that you can't do it because you don't have, this or that, or money, or you don't have a lot of friends. I covered this in another video, and that was about excuses. And it's all connected and related to each other. You can't have productivity without commitment, a good environment, not making excuses, and staying positive. Now, you don't want to be over positive to where you take on so much work to the point to where you just get overwhelmed and then you can't do it. You need to stay positive, but in a realistic way, so that you don't overwork yourself and get into artist block. Productivity can always be about whether or not you're doing too much or doing too little. You want to find that good balance to where you've constantly got interest in enjoying what you're doing, and it doesn't feel like it's such a difficult task when you're having a lot of fun. And time will just fly by when you're having so much fun doing something that is not only a goal and a hobby, but is a real passion that you wake up to every morning, that you love doing, and you go to bed at night and you can't wait to just wake up in the morning and start on that task. And also with productivity, some other things that are very important that is also connected to this is physical health and mental health. Now, you want to eat healthy and get good sleep so that you can continue doing your hobby at your full potential. Don't be staying up really late, watching TV and looking up stuff online when you should be in bed sleeping, preparing for the next day. And preparing meals is also very helpful, because you don't got to sit there and worry about, what I need to cook now, or, you got it all planned and it's all set ahead of time. And maybe thinking to yourself, well, if I'm just constantly planning things all the time, it's not quite as fun. Well, not quite true, because if you're planning all your meals and you're planning things ahead of time, that's going to save you so much time. And all the extra time that you have saved, you can use that when you're done with your work to do things that you enjoy. Then you can watch some TV and relax some and get your mind off of things and kind of just wind down a little bit. And then going out and doing things can help you, because if you're just stuck inside all the time and you're not going out and exploring the world, and some of us are more social or less social, depending on what it is that you are more into. And if you're a social person and you like going out and speaking to people, and you're just stuck inside all the time, just constantly doing work, and then you feel like you're not doing as good as you did before, you should probably get out and talk to people a little bit and socialize so that you can find that connection, and you can bridge that gap between being overproductive and underproductive, because it'll keep you happy and it'll keep your mind in a positive state. And for those of us that aren't quite as social, instead of going out and talking to people and interacting and socializing so much, what you can do is just go out, go for a walk somewhere, visit a museum, go to an art gallery, or just take a walk in your town and just get your headphones and put on a podcast, listen to some music, and just think about things and relax some. Because overworking is something that people think is a necessary thing to do, and it's not necessary to be productive. You don't have to push yourself to the point to where you don't have anything left, to where you don't have any desire to do it anymore. Now, there's always different circumstances, and sure, there's different things to compare this to, but for the context of what I'm speaking about in general in artwork, you don't want to overwork yourself, and staying creative is right there. You want to be in the middle, but staying productive, because it'll keep you creative. And as I said before, producing too much, then your mind just gets wore out. You don't have as many good ideas that come to your mind, and then you're just completely overworked, you get artist block, and then you don't feel like doing it anymore, and then you just get negative, and then you feel like giving up, and then it'll just repeat itself, and then you'll spend months or years wondering why you're not getting anything done. Then you'll ask yourself, before you know it, 10 years go by, then you'll say, whatever happened? Why am I not pursuing that anymore? Why do I suddenly not have interest? And most importantly, to stay productive is to never give up.